Man, what a piece.
With a lid,
Yeah.
with inserts and with drawers, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes as much to build a drawer as it does a box.
Today we're visiting the shop of master craftsman Don Bristow. The shop, located in the basement of his home, was very impressive, as was his knowledge. You can tell he spent years developing his craft. Don sells through a local consignment shop and has a private show a couple times a year at his home.
Bought the Grizzly originally to do resawing.
Okay.
I never could get it set up to where it did a quality job in resawing. So it does great for, you know, any kind of figured turning or sawing, but it doesn't do good. So I bought the Laguna.
So you got the thinner blade in the Grizzly.
And then this has got a carbide tip blade
Okay.
and 1-inch blade. It does a grand job. And I thought, I've had people come in and help me, and we, you know, tore it clear down and start over, and I just never could get it to do what I wanted to do. And this thing does a grand job.
Whoa.
And I've got others that have an identical Grizzly saw.
Yeah.
Love it, works fine. But I just never could tune mine in to do what I wanted it to do.
Did it drift or?
You'd drift, and you know, I drift. Yes, and a clever thing about this is almost all of my bits are 1/2-inch bearings.
Okay.
And you know, I change bits all the time because I do a lot of router work. And so it's a pain to set up that fence. Drop this in there, drop that,
Oh, that's
lock it on both sides.
Squares your fence up?
Squares your fence.
Oh, that's a
Don't-
really cool idea.
It is. Just as many times as I change router bits, that is so simple, and it's lined up.
Nice.
Don't have to do anything.
Now, what are you sharpening? Lathe tools, chisels?
Lathe tools, chisels, planer blades,
Okay.
and a real good woodworker is a real good sharpener.
I've heard that.
I'm a mediocre sharpener, so I'm a mediocre.
Like your organization is incredible. And Delta table saw. Is that a 3-phase saw or a 2-phase saw?
It's 3-phase, and it's 52-inch with an expansion table.
So you can handle full sheets of plywood if you
Yeah,
need to.
yeah. And again, those are my major tools, and I use that table saw all the time. They get chewed up.
Yep. So you're doing a lot of thin cuts then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I've got all kinds of crosscut sleds, all the way from little bitty, because I'm always doing little bitty stuff,
Yeah.
all to, you know, huge crosscut table.
Yep.
But I've got all kinds of crosscut sleds, you know, for 45s and,
Nice. Yeah. Framing you would have.
oh yeah, I've got probably 5 or 6 crosscut sleds.
Wow. So you're doing a lot of fine woodworking. So what kind of blades do you like in your table saw?
Well, the Woodworker 2, what I like about it is it creates a flat bottom.
Okay.
And so dados that I cut and so forth are already flat. You don't have a tooth mark in there. And then it depends on, you know, what I'm doing. For a lot of rip, I go to a real thin blade.
Okay.
And that's a Delta blade that's on there right now. All,
Nice clamping table.
well, you talk about organization. I like to try and keep things organized.
Nice. Kaizen foam. Really nice.
That really helps. This is a downdraft table, which helps a lot.
Okay.
But then to catch it right at its source,
I've heard it's by far the best dust collection.
yeah, it really works well. And you know, I still use the downdraft some too, but you know, when you're capturing it right at the source,
Yeah.
it's a nice tool. I really thought I'd build an outside building, but while we were looking, I was in a house that had 9-foot ceilings in the basement. And I went, I think I could make that work.
And
Of
not
course, it's piped to all the machines. The heaviest dust creation I've got closest to the source. So my
Gotcha.
planer, joiner, and router table are all right here, and they create probably the most dust.
gotcha.
The one that really is difficult to capture, turning is one,
Right.
but then the chop saw. So I've got a separate vacuum to it, but still it creates lots of
Yeah.
dust that's hard to capture.
That's very well organized too. Now, do you have trouble when you're storing wood like that to keep it flat? What's your thoughts on that? 'Cause
Well,
I'm
and-
still struggling whether to stand it vertically or lay it flat and weight it or sticker it or.
And it's always going to move, and and that's what I was talking about in terms of wood prep. Even if it's already planed and it can still bow a little or cup a little, or so you always are fighting
Yeah.
keeping that board true while you're doing your work. Because that's the thing, picture framing and woodworking both, everything you do creates scrap.
Yeah.
Scrap glass, scrap mat board, scrap molding. Well, and that's how I got started making boxes. I had a piece of molding discontinued, so wasn't big enough to make a frame. And I thought, that'd make a good looking box if I chopped that up.
There you go.
And I chopped it up and it made a good looking box. So,
I've always heard though, learn how to build a box and it will teach you so many of the basic principles.
almost everything you build basically is a box with some elaboration of that, drawers and whatever.
Sure.
And some boxes are bigger than others.
Yeah.
Now I've got a lid, so I need to build a box around it.
Okay.
And, this looks like it would match well to the dark ebonized, that walnut. But this is an exotic. It's expensive. So what do? So I resaw it. Here's the same type, but this is on cherry instead of mahogany. And so going with just a walnut frame worked out
Nice.
fine.
These are really, really cool 3D looking. I mean, I know it's laser because I can tell, but it looks 3D. It pops so well.
Yeah. And this is particularly deep. There's a lot of epoxy inlays.
Yeah. Fill your knot holes and
Yep. I like the looks of grain, and so lots of times it has a void, and so
Gotcha.
you got to do something with the void.
Next, we pop into another part of the shop where he has a full-blown mat and frame shop. As you can see, Don's been at this a while. His incredible eye for detail shows.
so
Now that's a commercial one, and then these are all ones I created.
those are profiles you can produce
Yeah,
in-house.
yeah,
You do that on the router or you
router,
gotta-
router,
okay.
yeah.
Wow. So take a shape like this because I don't know nothing about that. How many passes in a router? How many bits does it take to make that profile?
That's one bit.
That's one bit.
That's one bit.
That's a big bit, then, ain't it?
And if you're smart, you do it in two passes.
Okay.
I'm not always smart, and I try and do it in one, but you're better off to do.
Take less material at a time.
Yeah,
to get a smoother finish.
do all, but maybe the last 32nd, 16th.
And you end up with a
and-
cleaner.
Yeah. If you have any imperfections in that first pass, that second pass will take them out.
That same rule applies to the CNC. You want to take, even if you're hogging it out, you want to take a small.
Now, smaller ones like this, one pass, no problem.
That goes back to having good sharp router bits and stuff. like that.
Yeah. But a bigger profile, you're better off to make at least two cuts. But the smaller profile, no problem, one pass, and that's 2 bits because one on one side, one on the other.
Okay.
laser engrave the bottom, somebody's name,
Sure.
put a clock up here.
I got you.
I've made several like that.
Okay.
Buffaloes and elk. And
We had stopped into one of his private shows earlier in the year. Check out some of his work. These are truly one-of-a-kind pieces that could easily become a family heirloom. You will see how he combines wood and other mediums like rock, bone, gems, and epoxy. He truly has an eye for unique, one-of-a-kind creations. We are certainly inspired to get out in our shop and make something cool. I hope you are too. Hey, thanks for watching. Till next time.